Hello, how's everyone doing today? Today we're going to work with equations and angles. Complementary angles. Two angles are complementary angles if their sum of their measures is 90 degrees. So any two angles that make up a right angle or a 90-degree angle are complementary angles. So this example here, first example, we have 30 and 60. If we added those together, 30 plus 60, that would give us 90 degrees. So that means they are complementary. In this example over here, number 1 and number 2 are complementary because we can see that these two measures, this angle here, angle 1, and this angle here, angle 2, if we combine those together, it makes this right angle here. And that right angle means 90 degrees, so we know that this is complementary. All right, so this says solve for x and then find the measure for each angle. Okay, so I can see that these two angles are complementary because I can see right here there's a right angle symbol right here, which means 90 degrees. So I know that this angle plus this angle will give me 90 degrees. So to solve for x, I can set these two separate expressions equal to 90. So my first angle says 3x plus 11. So 3x plus 11. And I can put plus, because I'm going to add that other angle, 39 minus x. I know that these two angles added together give me 90, so then I can set it equal to 90. Then from here, I can follow my steps to solve equations and solve for x. So I always learn don't call me after midnight, and I can use that to solve my equation. Okay, so my first step, D, for don't call me after midnight is distribute. There's no distribute needed here, so we're done with that. My next one is C, which is combine like terms. So I can combine my like terms. Let's see, what like terms do I have? Well, I have a 3x and I have a minus x. I can combine those two, right? 3x minus 1x will give me 2x. All right, what else do I have that I can combine? Well, I have a plus 11 and I have a plus 39. Plus 11 plus 39 would give me 50. So I have a 2x plus 50 equals 90. So now I'm done with combining my like terms. The M means move variables to one side. My variable's already on one side. There's nothing on the right except for that 90, so I'm done with that step. Then it's add or subtract. Remember, we always do the opposite of what it says. So this says plus 50, so we want to do minus 50. So we can get rid of that because we want to get that x by itself. So that's going to leave me with 2x, and whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side, and 90 minus 50 would be 40. And now I can divide by 2. So last step, multiply or divide. So I can divide by 2 to get rid of that 2 and leave it with x. And I can do the same thing on the other side. 40 divided by 2 would give me 20. So x equals 20. All right, so now I need to find the measure of each of these angles. And so to find those, I can just plug in, now that I know x equals 20, I can plug in 20 for x for each of these equations, or expressions. So this says 3x plus 11, so I can do 3 times 20 plus 11. 3 times 20 is 60, and then 60 plus 11 would be 71. So this angle here is 71 degrees. This one up here, it says 39 minus x, so I could write 39 minus 20, because I know 20 is x now, and 39 minus 20 would be 19. So this one would be, oops, sorry, yep, 19. All right, and I can check my work because I know that these should equal 90. If I do 71 plus 19, that gives me 90. So I know I got it right. So whenever you have complementary angles, you just add those two together. So I've added these two things together. I put a plus sign in between them, and I set it equal to 90. And then I solve for x. All right, supplementary angles. Supplementary angles are measures that angles that add up to 180. So this one on the left here, if I do 135 plus 45, that would give me 180. So I know that these two are supplementary angles. Sometimes they won't give you the measures, but you could tell that 3 and 4 over here are supplementary angles because it makes this straight line. 180 degrees is a straight line. And I see this straight line on the bottom, so I know 3 and 4 are supplementary angles. If I added the measure of 3 plus the measure of 4, that will give me 180 degrees. So for supplementary angles, if they plug in some variables, I could solve these kind of like how I did with complementary angles. I see this straight line here, so I know that these would equal 180 degrees. So if I take my two angles and add them together, it will equal 180 degrees. So my first angle is x plus 96. And then I have my next angle is 5x. So I need to add 5x. If I add those two together, it'll give me 180. All right, so now I can go ahead and solve this like a regular equation. So I can combine my like terms. I see an x and a 5x. I can combine those, right? X plus 5x will give me 6x. So I'm left with 6x. That 96 I can't combine with anything on my left, so I just keep it, plus 96, and equals 180. Now I have a two-step equation. So now I need to get x by itself. So this says plus 96. I want to get rid of that. The opposite of plus 96 is minus 96. That's going to leave me with 6x. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. 180 minus 96 gives me 84. So I need to get x by itself still. A number next to a variable means multiply, so I want to divide. So I'm going to divide by 6 to get rid of that and leave me with just x, and do the same thing to the other side. So I want to do 84 divided by 6, and that gives me 14. So x equals 14. All right, so now that I know x equals 14, I can figure out these two measures of these angles. So 5x, let's do that one. 5 times 14 gives me 70. So this angle here is 70 degrees. All right, and then this one over here, I have x plus 96. So that means I can do 14, plug in 14 for x, plus 96. 14 plus 96 will give me 110. So this measure over here is 110 degrees. And I can know if I get it right because I want these two to equal 180, right? Because they're supplementary angles. So if I do 110 plus 70, that gives me 180. So I know I got it right. So when you have complementary or supplementary angles, when they have variables in there, you just set them equal to 180 degrees if it's supplementary and 90 degrees if it's complementary. All right, vertical angles. Vertical angles are opposite of each other and are congruent. That means they're the same measure. So angle 1 and angle 3 are opposite of each other, and they're also congruent. They're the same measure. Angle 2 and angle 4, they're opposite of each other and are the same measure. Those are called vertical angles. So here I have a pair of vertical angles, and they have variables inside of them. Well, now that I know vertical angles are equal to each other, I can set these two expressions equal to each other and then solve for x. So I have 3x as one angle, and I know that equals the same thing as the one across from it, which is 4x minus 25. All right, so from here I can use don't call me after midnight. D, distribute, no distribute. C, combine like terms. There's nothing to combine on the left, nothing to combine on the right. M, move my variables to one side. Well, I have to move over one of my variables. So I see this is a positive 4x, so I'm going to do a minus 4x to get rid of this and leave me with my negative 25 on this side. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. 3x minus 4x would be negative 1x. Now I'm just left with negative 1x equals negative 25. I want to get x by itself, so I have to get rid of that negative 1. When a number's next to a variable, that means multiply, so I want to divide. I'm going to divide by negative 1 to leave me with just x, and do the same thing to the other side. Negative 25 divided by negative 1 will give me 25. So x equals 25. So now I can find the measures of both of these angles. So 3x, let's plug it in and see what that should be. 3x x equals 25, so I'm going to plug that in. 3 times 25 would be 75. So this is 75 degrees. And since these are vertical angles, if this one's 75 degrees, the one across from it also has to be 75 degrees. All right, so that is how we do equations with angles. If they're vertical angles, you set them equal to each other. If they're supplementary angles, that means they make a straight line. You add them together and set them equal to 180. If they're complementary angles, which means they make a right angle, you add them together and set them equal to 90. All right, so that is how we solve equations when they're in variables that are inside angles. If you have any questions, please ask a teacher. Have a great day.